Okay, hello everyone, can you hear me? Maybe send a message in the chat if you can hear me, just to make sure. Great, thank you. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Yay! Well, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Bureau of Land Management. I would love to welcome you to Yaquina Head, outstanding natural area, and to our first ever virtual Victorian Holiday Celebration. Now, we're really excited to have you here today, and we have some keepers and their families who will be sharing some holiday traditions with you today. We know that your holidays may not be looking exactly the same this year, and we thought that maybe these keepers and their families sharing traditions from this once isolated headland might be a nice way to celebrate this year. But before we get to those keepers, just a couple of logistical things. First of all, because it is a webinar format, you won't be able to turn on your camera or your microphone during this presentation, but as you can see, we've got that chat box there. So if you have any questions or comments throughout the presentation, feel free to type those in the chat box. I will be responding to those backstage, but we'll also have the keepers and their families on stage here who will be able to see them. This will run about 45 minutes. It may be a little bit shorter or longer, depending on exactly how long each little part of it goes. And it will be recorded as well. So if you miss part of it or you have someone else you know wants to watch it later on, we will eventually make the recording available. And I'm standing here in this Victorian parlor, but I'm not looking very Victorian right now, so I'd like to invite on one of our keepers, Keeper Jay, who is 150 years old, and he will be coming here today to start sharing some of those holiday traditions.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 150 years here at Yaquina Head Lighthouse is a long time, and I have seen many traditions come. Some of them went, most of them stayed. Tonight, I want to thank you all for joining us here in the parlor of the Keepers' Quarters, where three families of keepers celebrated the holidays for many, many years. I myself have been here since the 70s. Some of you out there may remember the 70s. A time of strife for some people, a time of joy for other people. It was the best of times, the worst of times, a season of lightness and a season of darkness, in the words of Dixon's. I never knew the man, but he died just a few years before I moved here to Yaquina Head. Tonight, we're going to share 6 of those traditions with you. Traditions celebrated right here at Yaquina Head Lighthouse, in the Keepers' Quarters, in the parlor, which we now call a living room. The place where traditions were handed down from one generation to the next. Traditions, values, and the holiday traditions that were brought to us from all over the United States, all over the world, found their way here to this remote place on the Oregon coast, where again, 3 families braved the wilderness and celebrated the holidays in a manner that would bring the light station together. Thank you. First though, back up, first of those traditions, we have gone through no great expense, believe me, no great expense at all, to bring forth from time one of the lighthouse keeper's daughters. She has been spending the last 140 some years practicing this tradition. And she is quite crafty in her game skills. Again, skills we would play every Christmas Eve here on the Oregon coast. Alyssa.
Well, hello there. I hope you're all having a wonderful evening. My siblings and I were just about to start a game, but I thought I would stop by and say hi to you folks first. Do you all have any games that you like to play at home with your families? Here at Yaquina Head, we like to play cards, charades, and board games like chess, dominoes, and checkers. Perhaps you've heard of some of those? Well, before I run away, I thought we could play one of my favorite games together. So I have an object behind my back, and it's up to all of you to guess what that is. So you can start by asking a series of questions in the chat. And once you think you know what it is, you can share your guess with all of us. All right, I'll start by giving you a hint. This object is small. Any guesses or questions to start? It is not an animal, no. It's not a mineral, and it's not man-made either. It is not in the vegetable family, and it's not a shell either. But it is natural. All right, we have a guess right away. And Emily, you are correct. It is a pine cone. Well, thanks so much for playing along. And I hope that you and your families are able to find some time to play games together this holiday season. Well, I hear my siblings calling my name, so it's time for me to go. And welcome back to Keeper J.
All right, thank you, thank you. Another one of our favorite traditions out here, excuse me, this is the 1817. Another one of our favorite traditions out here is writing. You know, this is another one, you know, after the Civil War, a great need to communicate between families during the war, and out here in the Oregon coast, kind of reconnect with our friends back east. Now, this particular member of the Keeper family, she moved here from the great state of West Virginia. She, I believe, is carrying on this very important tradition, once started actually before the war in 1843, the very first Christmas card. As I recall, I saw that card. It read another traditional phrase, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, period. That was it. And that card and that phrase have been repeated for decades, centuries almost. I'd like to bring out another member of the Keepers family here to share her writing to her friends and family back east. Meredith.
Dear Mother and Father, the holidays are upon us again, and it is this time of year that makes me miss you most. As always, we are keeping ourselves busy with tending the home and light. This time of year brings less visitors out to the lighthouse as it rains often, and the winds can blow so hard it feels as though you may be thrown off the cliffs at times. That doesn't mean we can be any less diligent, though, with our constant cleaning. The inspector could still arrive at any time. And you know from my previous letters just how strict he can be with his white glove, checking for dust even on top of our door frames. I never even thought to clean up there before living here. At least town is nearby, though, so we can go often for the mail and supplies as needed. I can't imagine living at a lighthouse far from any civilization. I would feel so much more isolated, more than we already are. One of the keepers' rheumatism has been acting up so badly that even the women have been helping to carry the fuel all the way up the stairs to the lamp. I don't mind, though. Sometimes I wish I could even be an official keeper myself. We all know what an important job it is and what's at risk. As our head keeper often says, if the lights go out, lives go out. I dream of and look forward to the day those country roads may bring me back to my home among the hills. Give my love to all my siblings as well and tell them I miss them so. Your loving daughter, Meredith.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you. I think I speak for all the families, all three families here at the Light Station. We've been out here a lot of years, since the 1870s together, and it's always good to get those letters going home and those letters from home. Wherever you are tonight, you may consider picking up a pen or a keyboard and sending a little message back to others that have made this day possible for you. They might want that, and you might need it. Next up, we have another member of the Lighthouse Keeper family. Oh, she's been here for many, many years. She has. And she brought with her one of our favorite traditions. It's another European one. It's the decorating of the tree with the German bells. I will bring out here one of the keeper's daughters, Stacy.
Hello, everyone, and I hope you are enjoying this holiday season. As Keeper Jay said, I thought that I would share with you something that my mother taught me and that I hope one day when I grow up I can share with my daughter. And that is making the German bell ornament for the tree. Would you like to make this one with me? If you would like to follow along with me in making this craft, there are some supplies that you'll need. First, a piece of paper. It's nice if it's colorful, ideally square, but if it's not, that's okay. You'll also want a length of ribbon or string, some small beads or uncooked rice. I've got popcorn kernels here that'll help make our bell rattle. These fancy scissors here, and this relatively new invention, it's called tape. Now, my mother and I used a needle and string to tie our bells together, but we're just going to use tape today, or hot glue if you have it. All right, you ready to begin? So let's say that you only have a rectangular piece of paper, but we need a square. That's okay, we can make a square. Here's how we'll do it. So we are just going to take the short edge of the paper and fold it to line up with the long edge of the paper. Just like this. Make a nice, good crease there. Don't worry about the crease messing up our craft. We'll actually need this crease later on. So our piece of paper looks like this. And then all we need to do is use our scissors and just cut off this excess bit here so that we've got our nice triangle. So I'll just cut that. These modern scissors are so different than what I'm used to, but they work pretty well. And we open it up and have our perfect square. So we're all ready to begin. I'm going to start with this piece here. And just like we have here, I'm going to make a fold by connecting these two corners. So we'll just fold it over, make a nice triangle. Try to line it up as best you can. All right, and then we'll open it back up. And we're going to do another fold by doing just another triangle, this time connecting these two corners. So we turn it around and fold it again. That way, when you open up your paper, you should see an X of creases, just like that. Next fold we're going to do is just to fold the piece of paper in half. So we're connecting one side to another side, just like this. All right, now we want nice strong creases. My mother always taught me to do very strong creases. That way the bell will look nice and sharp when we're done. So we open it up and we're gonna do another half fold by turning our paper, folding it in half again, just like that. Good, strong creases. All right, so now we'll check in and see if we're all on the same page. If you open it up here, you should see that you have an X of creases and also kind of a cross or a plus sign in creases. We all have that so far? All right, let's continue. Our next fold is going to be what some people call a paper airplane fold. So that means that we're going to pick one corner and we're going to line up the edge with the diagonal crease that comes out of the corner. So I'll do this fold here so we can all see. Now before you unfold it, we're going to take this half now and fold it over just as you did with this side. Line it up there. All right, so it should look like this. You can tell it's not perfectly straight, but as long as we get it close, looks all right. Now we open up those flaps, and we're gonna do that same 2-flap fold or paper airplane fold for the other 3 corners of our paper. So we're just gonna rotate it around and do that same thing over again. Now, if I'm going a little fast for you, that's all right. Lindsay is going to be posting directions to this ornament in the chat so that you can look it up on the computer. Yes, the computer, the internet. I'm still learning all these fancy terms. And find directions on how to do it there. Right. Crossing it over. So far, so good. Now we've gone to our last corner here, making a whole mess of creases in the paper. All right. Now, we've done the paper airplane fold on all of our corners. And if you look at the inside, we've got creases all over the place. And now here comes the tricky part. It's time to start shaping the bell. So we're gonna get it to this general shape. And we're gonna do that by kind of pinching the corners, and we're gonna guide them up to meet up in the middle, just kind of like this. So we're just gonna start pulling them up, and you're gonna have to kind of push the creases around to get them to do what you want them to do. But we'll just start slowly, sort of folding things up. Get this to behave here. Sometimes it takes a little more persuasion. All right. Here we've got our basic German bell shape. Okay, all that's left now is to add in our noise maker, some ribbon, tie it all together. So I'm gonna pour in some of these popcorn kernels. That way we have our rattling noise. And use this fancy new age tape to connect our ribbon on. So I'm just gonna tape the ribbon to one side here. And tape it to another side over here. All right, now we're going to connect our bell all up again. Take a few more pieces of tape just to connect all the outer parts together. And a little bit of work and a little bit of luck, you end up with German bell ornaments. I think this will look very nice on the tree. A little ways to go before I get to Mother's build, but we got there. Did you guys get there as well? All right, well, thank you for sharing some crafting with me. And I hope your trees all look beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Stacy. Thank you very much. What holiday would be complete without a feast? There's another tradition from the 1870s maybe going back a little bit earlier, bringing the families together for one big feast. Here at the light station, again, we were in a remote area of the Oregon coast in those days. We fed upon what nature's bounty brought us. Sea hag, I think they're called cormorants today, and sea duck, and perhaps a slice of beef from the Megason's farm, who had the adjoining 320 acres next to the light station here. And after the feast, the families would join around the hearth, where we would hear stories from one of our elder keepers. And this is maybe a tradition that happens in your house informally today. There seems to be always one adult who likes to tell those stories at the holiday fests. Here at the light station, it was Keeper Andrew. He's been here almost as long as myself. Over 140 years, I believe, Keeper Andrew. Again, we're waiting for those retirement checks to arrive and the replacements to come. But until that day, Keeper Andrew will fulfill his role as the official Yaquina Head Light Station storyteller. Keeper Andrew.
Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays. A wonderful story for you tonight called Colin's Christmas Candle. Colin walked slowly home from school, scuffing his feet as he crossed the hills of the little fishing village. It did not seem like Christmas, though. Perhaps this was because it had not snowed yet. But Colin knew there was another reason why it did not seem like Christmas Eve, a reason he did not even dare whisper in his heart. He looked across the valley towards the lead-colored sea. There was not a speck of a ship on the horizon. There had been none for 7 days. And 7 days ago, his father's fishing schooner had been due home, but it was already Christmas Eve. Colin looked towards the lighthouse high on the hill. 7 days ago, a north gale had short-circuited the lighthouse wires. For 7 days, there had been no light to guide the schooner. Colin pushed open the door of his mother's cottage. "We'll need more wood for the fire," said his mother. "It's nearly burnt itself out, and it's my time to light the candle." "I'm not caring much about a candle, Mother," he said. "I know, for I'm not caring about one much either," replied his mother. "But everybody in the village lights a candle on Christmas Eve. 'Tis a symbol that your home is open to strangers in need. Come now, I have 2 candles, one for each of us. If you gather some wood, we'll be ready for supper soon." Colin went outside and hitched a basket to the donkey's back. He led the animal up the hill to search for wood, glancing towards the lighthouse. Colin had an idea. It hit him like a gust of wind. He turned and started running up the hill. When he came to the lighthouse, he pounded on the door. Mr. Duffy, the keeper, opened it a crack. "Mr. Duffy," gasped Colin, "how did you light the candle? Could you do it again?" "Why, the electric batteries are blown, dead as can be. So we just have to wait for the lighthouse tender, whenever that might be." "I mean, how did you light the lighthouse before there was such a thing as batteries?" "Why, by oil lamp. That's buried in the cellar. Now, what wild thing have you in mind? There's no oil kept here anymore," said Mr. Duffy. "Would kerosene light the lamp?" asked Colin. "Well, I suppose so," Mr. Duffy mused. "But don't go getting any ideas in your head, lad. I'd like to see anyone find a quart of oil or kerosene. Never mind enough to..." Colin was gone. before Mr. Duffy could finish his sentence. Colin ran down the hill, quickly gathered 4 pails from the kitchen and darted for the door. Colin knew that a lit candle at any village home on Christmas Eve meant that any stranger coming to the door was given whatever he asked. He didn't stop running until he came to the first house. "Could you spare me half a cup of kerosene? Have you any kerosene in the cellar?" Colin went to every house where a candle shone in the window. He carted 2 pails to the lighthouse door. He knocked. Mr. Duffy appeared. "What manner of miracle is this?" Colin had gathered more pails of kerosene, enough to last the whole night through. He saw the tower suddenly flicker and quiver with light. Suddenly, a great beam spread out above the village and stretched towards the dark heart of the sea. "I've lit a candle, Mother, and a big one," he said when he returned home. After that, Colin ate his supper and went quietly to bed. A great shouting aroused him from his sleep. The ship has come in. It was the light they saw. They say the light that Mr. Duffy lit. They were but 10 miles out all week, drifting in the darkness by night and by the fog in the daylight. Not sure of their location, Colin bounded from bed and raced for the harbor. He felt moisture on his face, a moist wind. It was beginning to snow. It was Christmas, all right, falling from heaven right into Colin's heart. Hope you've enjoyed this story and have a wonderful holiday season.
Okay, thank you so much, Keeper Andrew. Yes, Keeper Andrew is the one. He's the last one to go to bed at night. He is the one sitting by the fire, usually with the children around him, reading the stories. Another tradition here at Yaquina Head. You know, Yaquina Head sits on this very narrow peninsula, jetting out a mile into the Pacific, and winter storms are rough, much rougher than they are on the mainland. Winds in excess of 90 miles an hour, well, that happens. Often so windy that they blow ducks into the glass of the lighthouse tower, killing the duck and, as you see, making the meal for the next night. Another one of our fine traditions here after a storm is sending the youth out to the fields adjacent to Megason's farm and to the forests to collect greenery. It's the holiday tradition of decorating with holiday greenery. A tradition that, one of the keeper's wives here would like to share with you tonight. Kat. Oh, you've got a fine basket of greenery there.
I do indeed.
My
The children
Lord.
were quite zealous in their collections.
They were.
Maybe a little bit over, especially after we took the trimmings from the tree. Remember you turned it into that perfect little
It
triangle?
was perfect. It was
Here
perfect.
it is. It's such a lovely tree, but there were lots of boughs left on the ground. And if you had a length of wire, of course, making a wreath would be perfect with its ongoing symbolism, but it's a little bit tricky for somebody like me. I'm much better with a swag. And to make a swag, all you need are the boughs, either from your tree or maybe the ones that you had the children collect. There's no shortage of those after a winter storm around here. And a piece of twine or string. And I have an idea for you too. If you don't even have a piece of twine left over from gardening this year, there's another idea. You won't even need it. So first with your boughs, just choose the longest ones and you're gonna put those in the back. So the long ones go in the back. It's nice if you have a variety. Look at this one's a little bit different. Different kind of evergreen. All kinds of trees between here and the Megason's farm. Children did an excellent job. And I'm sure they could help with this too. And I think you could all do this very easily. There we go. We're getting it all in there. Some of these ones they've collected for me are a little bit sharp. Oh, I forgot to take my mask off. I hope you could understand me. I was told to put it in my pocket, I'll put it right there. I'm sorry, I will try not to mumble into a mask. We are getting them all ready here. There are some that are quite sharp, so be careful, don't poke your fingers. Ouch. And then there's some deciduous evergreen. That makes no sense. There's some other kinds that are not needles. Get it all together. And at this point, of course, it'd be handy to have a helper. But if you don't, it's okay. You can lay it down, get your twine or string. We're so lucky that great-grandfather Hans brought some of these traditions from the old country with him when he moved to this continent. You just tie all those stems together nice and tight, as snug as you can. And you're almost done then. Look at that. But a ribbon is always nice as well. It makes it so festive, and that evergreen smells so lovely. Mixing with the cookies baking in the kitchen. I did put the kettle on for tea too. I'm sure it'll be ready in just a couple of minutes. I hope you'll all join me. Just tie a bow on there, and if you don't have a ribbon, don't worry about it. A scrap of fabric that you can tear into a long strip will work. But maybe some of your girls have grown out of their hair ribbons. They're beyond that now and really have no interest. But there you go. And then if you've got another scrap of twine, you can, let's see, I had this ready so it would go really quickly. Oh, I see what I did. La la. Put this on here. Be careful your ribbon, you don't want to squish it. Nice and taut-like. And you could hang it right off of in your parlor if you wanted to. I think most people would hang it out on the front porch or out on the door. I'm not sure that's permitted at the light station though. I'm sure we can put it on a fence post. It will look quite lovely out there. And I said I would get back to something if you didn't even have some twine left from the garden. You can use a bucket, don't go away. Maybe even you had something planted in the bucket. You had some bulbs or something. So there was some dirt in there. Then you just poke all those boughs that children collected in there, add some ribbons, and there you go. How simple is that? I'm sure you can all do that and you will enjoy it. And I hope that your house will be as festive as the parlor at the light station. Thanks for joining me. I hear the tea kettle.
Oh, thank you, Kat. One of our finer traditions right here in front of us, the Greenery of the holidays. Next, no Victorian parlor. This is the Victorian age, a time when all the holiday traditions came to fruition and actually grew in the 1870s. But no Victorian parlor would be complete without a guitar, a parlor guitar, much smaller than today's guitars, and a parlor piano. It's there that songs were passed from one generation to the next. Songs that in the 1870s, taken from Europe, taken from the North states, taken from the South states. Songs, oh, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Jingle Bells, American traditions that came right out here to the Oregon coast in this very distant land, but served to bring the families together here at the light station. To help us with some of those traditions, we have with us two of the finest keepers' daughters this side of the wagon road. They've got to get through no great expense to bring them all the way out here from the other keepers' quarters to this parlor right here. And they need your help in carrying on this tradition of song and dance.
All right. Thank you, Keeper Jay. We do indeed want to end this evening with our last act with a song. But it's not only just a song that we will be singing for you. No, not at all. We need everyone to participate. This song not only is sung together, but we also have movement. So everyone from your homes, from around here this evening, all of our keepers, our wives, get on up, even if it's, what now, 10:38 at night on the East Coast. I know there's a few of you over there. Mom, get out of bed. Come join us for the final act of the evening. Many of you are probably familiar with this song, the 12 Days of Christmas, but not all of you may know that it does have movement. So we're going to teach you those little gestures real quick before we get started. And we'll go from the bottom to the top, so from the very end of the song. So it starts with 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, a little curtsy, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, that's a fun one, right? And 5 gold rings, of course. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, give a little kiss, and a partridge in a pear tree. Now, if you feel like you didn't have all those memorized yet, that's okay, because of course we are going to be going through them many times. All right, now we started a little high earlier and almost lost our voices at practice, so we'll try a little lower now. Everyone ready? I hope you're ready to sing, ready to dance, and here we go. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Can we speed it up at all? On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Last one. Woo! On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings,
4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yay! Woo! All right, we're gonna go pack up. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Stacy and Meredith. Thank you very much. Whew. All the keepers are kind of sweating in their uniforms back there after the dance and merriment there. Hey, you know, the 1870s, they weren't the best of times, but at the same time, they were pretty good. It's a time when traditions of holidays such as Christmas and other mid-season, midwinter holidays grew. They grew not in spite of the troubles of those times, a time when the country was healing from a civil war, when farmers were moving to urbanized areas to work in factories, a country in great change. But it was these traditions that grew, and they grew because families needed that. Families in America needed that. North and South needed to unite. The East and the West were growing in their own ways. They needed to unite. And it was these commonly held traditions coming from all over Europe, all over America. Everyone was accepted, brought into one place here in the parlor, and shared. And that is the true spirit, this true spirit of the holidays here at Yaquina Head. For over 140 years, we've been going down this road. And if we could leave with one message tonight, it is, maybe it's the best of times, maybe it's the worst of times, 2020, but you know, here at Yaquina Head and throughout the States and the world, we've been down this road before. And it's only through coming together at festivities like this, the holidays, is where we bond and what makes us strong. We'll get through it. So beyond that, what lays in the future of Yaquina Head? Well, for that, we're going to talk to the new manager. He's only been here a couple years. I mean, 150 right here. I don't know. He's kind of a new guy, but you know, Matt Bentonson is here. He's the manager of Yaquina Head Outstanding Natural Area, and he will share where we are going in the year to come. Matt.
Thank you, Keeper Jay. My goodness. I hope everyone was able to follow the 12 days of Christmas. I didn't know there was so much calisthenics involved in the song itself. Obviously, an early type of yoga. But we do want to thank all the Yaquina Head folks that were here tonight, the Yaquina Head team that helped bring this together. They put a lot of heart and soul, I think you could tell, into this Victorian Holiday Celebration tonight. We also would like to thank Friends of Yaquina Lighthouses for providing the holiday Christmas tree back here, in addition to several of the props, and for their support for the entire year. But mostly we want to thank you, the viewers, our visitors, the people that support Yaquina Head through good times, through bad times, who love the site, who love the Lighthouse. And I'll be going through a few of the projects we have going on in 2020. But 2020 has been a very strange year. It's incorporated many changes. We've had the response to the pandemic. So everyone is aware of, you know, what we have going on here tonight. We have plenty of masks, hand sanitizer, people are social distancing. But for Yaquina Head, we've tried to provide the right level of access balanced with safety. Safety for the public and safety for the staff that you've seen tonight. And we feel we've been able to do that in a reasonable manner. During times such as this pandemic, public land, Bureau of Land Management, public land, Forest Service land, state parks, we have a role to play in getting people out into the natural world so they can feel some of the relief from being in their houses for such a long period of time. As part of our response, we've been partnering with the City of Newport, Lincoln County, Oregon, other federal agencies, so we have a consistent level of expectation for the visitors as well as providing for safety. But enough about the pandemic. I'd like to talk a little bit about bridging between some of the past traditions you saw tonight with Meredith's Christmas card writing to what we do nowadays, which is more of the end of the year card and the new way of doing things. So the virtual experience, tonight is part of that virtual experience. It's one of our opportunities to share the resource, to share the commonality with the heritage of the site and of this place with you, our visitors, in addition with each other. We continue to look to technology to help us connect better with you and connect you better with our resources. This year, we were able to provide 500 or communicate with 500 students through virtual technology and provide them education on tide pools and the Lighthouse. And we expect to do more of that moving into the spring. As far as Lighthouse projects, during the summer, you may have noticed that the Lighthouse was painted. The Lighthouse has received a tremendous amount of attention this year. We want to keep it in good condition. And we did a steam power wash of the Lighthouse, and then we applied 3 coats of a special type of paint to keep it protected from the weather and to keep the salt from infiltrating into the brick. Another project we just wrapped up last week was a structural investigation where we actually removed some of the brick inside the Lighthouse to look at the cast iron that is embedded in the brick. I think we'll be happy to find out that the Lighthouse is in very good condition. However, we do have some concerns with the disintegration of some of the cast iron features, and we expect to get a full report this spring where we'll be able to start and address those issues through the summer. Our final project this year is the decks and drainage project. The old deteriorating wooden decks have been removed, and we are in the process of replacing those in a very similar manner with concrete decks that are graded and have the land graded away from the Lighthouse and from the oil house, so that water will run off away from the Lighthouse, across the decks and out to the ocean, so that we're not trapping water up against the Lighthouse and leading to additional problems. If you have any questions about these projects, my email address will be in the chat, and you'll be able to send me any questions, and I'll get those answered as soon as we can. But closing out 2020, we want to look forward to 2021. We look forward to seeing you back in the interpretive center, back on Lighthouse tours with many of the staff who miss you and miss the Lighthouse itself. 'Tis the season to take inventory of the wonderful people and accomplishments that we've experienced this year. We are so thankful for everyone's support for the past year. We wish you a wonderful holiday season, and from Yaquina Head, we'd like to wish you happy holidays. And that'll be it, and Yaquina Head Light is out. Thank you.
Good night.